Time to set the record straight. What's going on, everybody? It's me again, Golden Blue Dude. And if you haven't already, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button. I do college football videos every single day. So whether you agree with me, want to talk trash with me, or talk trash to me, pretty sure you're going to enjoy this channel. If you know my videos, then by now you know that I have a severe disdain for the playoff committee, especially this year. They have dropped the ball, and they just look silly. Cincinnati's athletic director has come out and said they wish the BCS era was back in business because they feel like the deck is stacked against them. So I went digging to look at the actual stats. Before I go any further, I'm just going to tell you right now, I think Cincinnati should be number 6 and Coastal Carolina should be number 7. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put up the combined record of the teams with a winning record that all these teams have beaten, and the combined record of the teams that they have lost to. That way, you yourself can compare them side by side. There's 3 two-loss teams ahead of Cincinnati, but I also wanted to include Coastal Carolina in this. Cincinnati is ranked number 9, and Coastal Carolina is ranked number 12. So I'm going to do all the teams in front of Cincinnati and Coastal Carolina head-to-head with both of these. Here we go. First, let's take a look at Cincinnati. They are undefeated. I picked out all of their wins against teams with a winning record. They have a win against then number 22 Army. They beat them 24-10. And Army's 8-2, so even though they're not ranked now, that's still a good opponent. Their next good win at number 16 at the time, SMU. 42-13, so a dominating win. And even though SMU is not ranked right now, they're also 7-3. They also have a good win against Memphis, even though they aren't ranked. They beat them 49-10. Memphis has a record of 7-3, so even though they're not ranked, that's still well above 500. And then their latest victory at Central Florida, 36-33. They barely won, but a win's a win. Central Florida is 6-3. That's not a bad resume, and they don't have any losses. Now I want to talk about Coastal Carolina real quick. They are 11-0. They have some pretty good wins as well. They have a win at number 21 at the time, Louisiana, who's 9-1, and Louisiana is actually still ranked, and I believe they're number 19 now. They beat them 30-27 on the road. They had a win against Georgia Southern, who's 7-5. That's a winning record, 28-14. And the reason I'm including all teams with a winning record is I want to be fair, because if I keep it out of their resume, then I'll have to keep it out of the other team's resume, and it'll actually make it look even worse. So I want it to be fair on both sides. Another win at Georgia State, who's 5-4. That's still above 500. 51-0, so that's an impressive win. Another win against Appalachian State, 8-3. So even though they're not ranked, 8-3, that's a good record. 34-23. Their best win of the year against number 13, BYU. Number 13 at the time. I believe BYU's 17 now. BYU's 10-1, and they won 22-17. Again, undefeated. So both Cincinnati and Coastal Carolina are undefeated and have a pretty good resume to go along with that unblemished record. Now let's look at the Power 5 teams that they're going up against as far as trying to get above. Number 6, Iowa State. They are 8-2, so they have 2 losses. Do their wins outweigh their losses better than Cincinnati and Coastal Carolina's record? Let's look at it. Iowa State's first win against a team with a winning record at TCU. They're 6-4. And they beat them 37-34. Okay, then a win at then number 18, Oklahoma. Oklahoma is much higher now. Oklahoma has a record of 7-2. They won 37-30. And a road win at then number 17, Texas. I believe Texas is number 20 now. Texas is now 6-3. They won that game 23-20. And then the latest win against my team, West Virginia, who's 5-4. 42-6. Yes, that was an impressive win. But one win isn't an entire season. You have to look at the entire season. Let's look at their losses. They are not undefeated. They have a loss at Louisiana. Louisiana wasn't ranked at the time, but they are now. Number 19. Louisiana is 9-1, and they lost to Louisiana 31-14. Oh, wait a minute. Haven't I heard that? Yeah, Coastal Carolina, they actually beat Louisiana. Coastal Carolina actually wins the head-to-head common opponent argument. That's interesting. And also a loss on the road to Oklahoma State, who's not ranked, but 7-3. They lost 24-21. Not a terrible resume, but kind of makes you scratch your head a little bit as far as why they are at number 6. Number 7, this is the big one, Florida. They are 8-2 overall. They have a win at Ole Miss, who's 4-4. Not a winning record, but I'm trying to throw Florida a bone, okay? 51-35. And then a win against Missouri, who's 5-4, 41-17. And then a win against Georgia, who's 7-2, 44-28. So that win against Georgia is, I guess, a huge deal. So their losses at number 21, Texas A&M, number 21 at the time. Now Texas A&M is number 5. Texas A&M is 7-1, and they lost 41-38. I called that when it happened. Then their latest loss to LSU, who is 4-5. They have a losing record. They lost 37-34. So in the playoff committee's eyes, that win against Georgia is worth more than the combined undefeated season of Cincinnati and Coastal Carolina, even with the impressive wins that they have. I smell bull crap. Oh, it gets worse, guys. Number 8, Georgia. Their wins against teams with winning records. A win against number 7 at the time, Auburn, who's 6-4, 27-6. That's not bad. And then a win at number 25 at the time, Missouri, who has a record of 5-4, 49-14. Guess what, guys? That's it. That's all their wins against teams with winning records. Finito, 2. Their losses at number 1, Alabama, who's 10-0, 41-24, and then versus number 8, Florida, number 8 at the time, who's 8-2, 44-28. So Georgia has 2 wins against teams with winning records, and their 2 losses, they were blasted. If you remove the name Georgia and were to give that resume to somebody else, that team would not even be in the top 15. Maybe in the top 20. So yeah, now you're starting to see what I'm saying here. Well, you've always known what I've been saying, but you're starting to see just how serious this is. I'm not done yet, though. Number 10, Oklahoma, 7-2. Wins against teams with a winning record. They got a win against number 22, Texas. That's when they started turning their season around. Texas 6-3, and they won 53-45. They won at TCU, who's 6-4, 34-14, and then they won against number 14 at the time, Oklahoma State, who's 7-3, and they won 41-13. Their 2 losses against Kansas State, losing record, 4-6. They lost 38-35. Back-to-back games at Iowa State. Iowa State wasn't ranked at the time. It's crazy, huh? Well, now Iowa State's 8-2, and they lost 37-30. The reason I'm including these last 2 teams is because of Coastal Carolina. I don't believe any of these teams should be ranked ahead of Cincinnati or Coastal Carolina. I think Cincinnati should be 6, and Coastal Carolina should be 7. Indiana, the last team that's ranked ahead of Coastal Carolina, they're number 11. Indiana has 0 wins against teams with a winning record. None. 0. Zilch. And their 1 loss was to number 3 at the time, Ohio State, who's 5-0. And they lost 42-35. So you're telling me that loss to Ohio State, because they played them close, wipes out everything else. Am I missing something here? Come on, guys. This is ridiculous. And now you know just how ridiculous it is. And if you're a fan of Iowa State, Florida, Georgia, Oklahoma, and Indiana, and you are not liking what I'm saying, then you are in denial. Otherwise, nod your head. Yes, Golden Blue Dude, you're right. But you know what? We're going to accept the bone that the NCAA is throwing. Because you know what? If they were throwing a bone to my team, I would accept it. But I would admit that it was in a underhanded type of way. That's all I got for you for this show. Like and subscribe. if you haven't already. And I'll see you on my next show.